I speculated there was something ever so slightly wrong with this fan. And a lot of people were saying that it was fine. But I trusted my instincts, which you should always do as a tech, and I looked at this fan as if there was something wrong with it. And my theory was that the rotor is not staying centered on the stator. Now in this case, these motors are kind of weird because they're kind of backwards on a conventional motor, you know, like a blower motor or something like that, like a table fan motor, whatever. The stator is on the outside and the rotor is on the inside. These are opposite because on these the stator sits on the inside and the rotor is on the outside. This, what here you're screwing the blade onto, that's the rotor. So these motors are kind of weird in that sense. But I was listening to the sound of it, and I know what a 60 hertz hum sounds like. I've serviced enough motors, replaced enough bearings to know what motors should sound like and to know what bearings should feel like. And the sound that this was making was not a 60 hertz hum. I don't know if maybe it wasn't picking up clearly in the video. I didn't watch back the video to find out if it was or not. It very well may not have been. But there was two sounds this was making. There was the 60 hertz hum, which was normal, and then there was what sounded to me like a piece of loose metal. And that loose metal sound was not consistent with the rotation of the fan. If there was a defect in the stator, you would hear the sound at a certain point in time when the rotors aligned with the stator in a certain way, and it would always make the sound in that given position, and so consequently that sound would change in frequency as you change the speed of the fan. And that wasn't happening in this case. The sound was totally randomized. And so to prove my theory, I turned the fan on using the variable speed control, and I adjusted the control to where the sound seemed to be the loudest. And then I stalled it out and I held it like this, and I rotated it to where it made the sound the most, and then I moved it like this. And sure enough, there was a hairline of play in that horizontal motion, and if you tilted it a certain way, the sound disappeared and you were left only with the 60 hertz hum. So this is where it gets kind of confusing, because I couldn't quite figure out how to open this motor. So the thing is here, if you look inside here, you have this, which would have to unscrew from this piece in order to lift the top of the motor off. But I don't understand how in the world you would unscrew that piece, because there's no way to hold it. You can hold this just fine, but you can't hold that. So how in the world do you take one of these things apart? I still don't know. I'm going to have to do some research on that. What I did do for now, which improved it drastically, is I loosened these screws. There's 3 of these screws on the outside of the fan. And when I loosened those screws, you can see the gap there. Let's see how much I can zoom in before it gets the blurry. There it goes. That gap there, if I unscrewed those screws, I could change that gap around the motor here. I could move the top just a little bit so that that gap either shows on one side or the other side. And what I did was I took the motor housing and I pushed it to the other side so that the gap closed on the side that it shipped with open and was open on the side that it shipped with closed. It's a very, very minute difference. It's a fraction of a millimeter. But it was enough to reposition the rotor around the stator and largely reduce that noise. So let's take a listen. I'll try to make it quieter in here And let's take a listen to what this sounds like. You're still going to hear the 60 hertz hum, but you're not going to hear that that other anomalous sound. You can still hear it slightly. I want to see if you'll hear it here. That sound, not the 60 hertz hum, the other sound. It's inconsistent. It's not doesn't align with the rotation of the fan. It sounds like a loose piece of metal. That's what it sounds like to me. But I can lower it down, and it's not overbearing like it used to be. It's still there. It's still not correct. But I think this is at least tolerable now. Yeah, and once it gets up to speed, it's not really there. It's there slightly, but not much. Now I don't hear it at all. I just hear the hum, or the buzz, whatever you want to call it, which is normal. Now the other thing I did was I balanced the blades, so you can see the clock is almost perfect. And I did that in an attempt to make sure that the blades aren't causing the stator, or the rotor rather, to want to shift. You know, so I think now what happens is it gets up to speed, it's pretty balanced, and it's not moving around or wanting to tilt at all, and so it's pretty quiet. On the other video, the sound was totally overwhelming. Now it's not bad. It hardly makes it anymore. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now, to prove the theory even further, I ordered another one of these. Well, that's not entirely true. I might have ordered more than one. But the reason being is because I found a retailer, the same one I purchased this one from, which is selling them at about $70 below the list price, which Envirofan puts out in their catalog. So it's really an incredible deal. It's well under $200. It's still a lot of money, but I think these are going to disappear soon. I really do. In the last year or so, a lot of AC powered ceiling fans, traditional ones, are disappearing, and so I think there's a very limited amount of time where we're going to be able to order these fans. So I bought a bunch of them because whenever I get the opportunity, I want to do a dual or triple install of these somewhere. I'm doing it, and it is what it is. Anyways, it'll be expensive, but that's besides the point. So when I get another one in, I want to see what it sounds like, because I've watched a lot of videos of these and none of them make that sound. So I think this one, for whatever reason, was just ever so slightly defective. And it kind of doesn't matter, because in a normal use case, which this was intended for, it wouldn't be noise sensitive. It would be in a store, it would be in a building, it would be high up, probably be running at full speed, and you wouldn't hear the sound. It wouldn't matter. They never intended you to install these things in a bedroom or something like that, where you're going to hear every little noise it makes. So I'm not bothered by it being like that. A little bit bothered, because it just shouldn't be like that. But I don't think it's a big deal, and it wouldn't deter me from buying more of these fans. I've purchased a lot of stuff that, you know, you get it and it doesn't look like the picture. It really fails to deliver. This is not like that at all. This is an awesome fan, and it was worth every penny, and so will the other ones that are coming in be as well, because I've wanted one of these for a very long time, and they're just really cool. I would have liked to have been able to get some of the bigger ones, a 56-inch, but those have already seemingly disappeared from a lot of retailers. Can't find them. So I could order it directly from Envirofan, but it'd be, I think, over $300. I'm not sure I want to do that. So, anyways, I think it was slightly defective, and now it's slightly less defective. It's still not 100%, but at least now it's usable. And this is in fact running at low speed. This is the perfect low speed. I set the trim on the control. This is all the way down, and it runs at this wonderful aesthetic low. It's really a captivating speed for one of these. Very, very neat. Anyways, so that's it for this video. It definitely wasn't right, and it's more correct than it was before now.